biblical wife was highly valued and respected. Here are 10 roles of a biblical wife that are still relevant today. Firstly, a biblical wife is a helpmate to her husband. She supports and encourages him and works alongside him to achieve their common goals. A biblical wife is a loving partner. She is kind, patient, and respectful towards her husband and fosters a deep emotional connection with him. A biblical wife is a homemaker. She creates a warm and welcoming home for her family and provides a nurturing environment where everyone feels loved and cared for. A biblical wife is a wise financial manager. She is responsible with money and works with her husband to make wise financial decisions. A biblical wife is a prayer warrior. She prays for her husband, her family, and her community and seeks God's guidance and wisdom in all areas of her life. A biblical wife is a faithful partner. She is committed to her husband for life and keeps her marriage vows with sincerity and devotion. A biblical wife is a godly role model for her children. She teaches them to love and honor God and leads by example in her own life.
All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Kakadash. Give double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone who taught us this truth and sincerity. And give honors to the elect out there that's pushing this truth to the four corners of the globe. To you, I say Shalom. I want to do this lesson as I like taking little clips from TikTok involving whatever particular lesson I'm going to get into. So with that being said, this lesson is going into how a woman should conduct herself while she's walking in this truth. You know, and I'm not talking about your average Christian woman. I'm talking about, you know, a real a woman that is of the hopeful elect. And I say hopeful because essentially we don't know. We can just have faith. But it's another talk for another day. To get right into it, I want to get Genesis 2:18. And the Lord Yahweh said, "It is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him an helpmate for him." You know, and that helpmate goes into nurse, caregiver, caretaker, housekeeper. You know, a position of servitude, a position of submission, and that word submission is not a bad word. It has a bad or a negative connotation on it today in this era, but you know, in the past, in the old days, that was a very big deal. You know, a lot of men in those days didn't deal with an unruly woman. She got stoned to death or put to death. You know, so next I want to jump to Genesis 3:16. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrows, thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thou shalt desire to be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. You know, so from the beginning, this Genesis is you know, the first book of the law of Torah, law of Moses. So this was from the start. You know, this was the decree. You know, the Lord desired that the husband will rule over the weaker vessel, which is the woman. You know, and because Eve was beguiled by the serpent, or you know, so this is what came with some of her punishment. Matter of fact, that would lead us right into let me get it, but that topic is gonna come back up. But let's get 1 Corinthians, and this is just a basic quick little lesson. I don't want to make it too long, too complicated, or overstay my welcome. So this is 1 Corinthians 11:3. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Hamashiach, and the head of every woman is the man, and the head of Hamashiach is Yahweh. You know, that's the heavenly order. That's the order that Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua set, and that's what we are to follow. You know, there is no cutting corners on that. I mean, that's self-explanatory. So let's jump down to let's jump down to verse 8. For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man. Neither was the man created for the woman. You know, so the man wasn't created for the woman. You know, the woman was created for the man. You know, verse 10, for this cause ought the women to have power on her head because of the angels. So, you know, if women were, I mean, that's going on today, you know, because scriptures say what in those days, which is future tense, that a woman shall compass a man. You know, that's the first scripture I think about when I read verse 10. So, you know, now that everything is out of order, you see what's going on today with women ruling over that. They're breaking the order, which was referenced in verse 3. So let's go to verse 11. Nevertheless, neither is the man without the woman, neither the woman without the man in the Lord. You know, that going back to that Genesis, when it was said that let's not make man alone, roughly paraphrasing, you know, let's give him a helpmate. So the Lord made us together. It's not supposed to be a division. You know, you got feminism, you got the ideologies of today's world, and what men call red pill. You know, you got all this division, and that's not biblical. That's not right. Right? Verse 12. For as the woman is of the man, even so the man also by the woman, but all things of Yahweh. You know, so a woman and a man, or a male and a female, can be birthed through a woman. You know, you have to have that man's seed, but at the end of the day, it all goes back to Yahweh. You know, the Heavenly Father. Right? So let's go to, let me see, did I hit everything? Let's go to First Timothy 2, and I think, let me see what 11. I'm gonna start at verse 11. Let the woman learn in silence with all subjection. So, you know, a woman is not meant to be over opinionated in when she is learning, and she's not meant to be clamorous, you know, not meant to be over talking her man, or, you know, she's supposed to learn in silence. You know, she's supposed to have a contrite spirit, you know, or scriptures say shameless. You know, she's supposed to understand how to conduct herself. She's not supposed to raise her voice. You know, she's supposed to be humble. in speech and in in attitude and in her actions. So all of these things go hand in hand. This, if you Aquaf call yourself a woman of the Lord or a woman in this truth, these scriptures are supposed to be examples. You're supposed to walk in these scriptures, right? Verse 12, but I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over a man, but to be in silence. And that word usurp, let's get that word usurp. Usurp, to take over, to extort, to remove, to overthrow, to take someone's position of power, to supplant. So, verse 13, for Adam was first formed, then Eve. Adam comes first, and that goes back to that order that was spoke about in Corinthians. And Eve was not deceived. I'm Slakia. Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in transgression. Because, in I think it's in Sirach, I forget which chapter and what verse, but it goes into the woman was the first to sin. It might be in the book of Ezra. I know it's in the Apocrypha, but it goes into how woman was the very first to sin. Adam, what he did was Adam hearkened unto his woman, because she was in league with the serpent, or which we call today, that Cain, Cain or Esau's spirit, the deceiver. She was in league, with him. So she, in a way, you could say she committed adultery. She broke. Scripture say you're supposed to learn at home with your husband. I think we're going into that next, but the order was broken, and that's going on today in the ways of this world. A lot of things are switched backwards. Scripture says, seek ye the old paths. If you wanna find your way, seek how our forefathers and foremothers went about serving the Lord, because now today, things are at an all-time bad. Job 9:24, the hands was given unto the power. The power was given into the hands of the wicked. Right? All right. Next scripture I want to get. Let's jump into 1 Peter chapter 3 and 5, I believe. For after this manner in the old time, the holy woman also who trusted in Yahweh adorned themselves, being in subjection unto their husbands. Right, and that's that sums the really that's a mic drop. That sums the whole video up. Again, because I spoke on seeking the old path. A holy woman, which holy means separate, set apart, sanctified. Who trust in Yahweh, adorn themselves, being in subjection unto their husbands. Let's get that word subjection. And it means based on or influenced by personal feelings, tastes, opinions. Let's get some synonyms. I don't really like these synonyms. Personal feelings. Okay. That didn't really help at all. But pretty much, I mean, to be under your husband's authority. That's what subjection pretty much means. Um, you're not supposed to have counsel with another man and take counsel from another man. You're supposed to learn at home with your husband. You're supposed to learn through him. And notice this verse 5, it says who trusted in Yahweh. So if you trust in the Lord and you call yourself a woman of the Lord, again, I've said this before, you'll take heed in these scriptures. Verse 6, even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, called him Lord, whose daughters ye are. So that's your, that for you Aquaf out there, that's your forefather. I mean Salakia, foremother, Sarah. So it's good to go back in Genesis and read and see how Sarah conducted herself, with Abraham, how she honored and revered her husband. Right? Because you natives, Latinos, and so-called Negroes, that is your foremother. Right? As long as ye do well and not afraid with any amazement. Likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge. So, deal with your woman according to knowledge. So, if you are teaching, husbands, you're dealing with your woman and you're saying something that's based off scripture, show her precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little, roughly paraphrasing, and understand that this woman, she is the weaker vessel, So let's get the rest of this. Giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel, and as being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered, so fall in order, because marriage through the scriptures, not through what the world deems as marriage, but marriage through Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah is, that's double grace, that's what the Lord smiles and winks down, and he honors that, Is that it on that? Alright, and then the next scripture I want to get is Shalakia. Let me go to my notes here. Yeah, 2 Timothy 3 and 16. Let's get that. Because you want to your life should be based off these scriptures. So all scriptures is given as inspiration of Yahweh and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, and for correction and instruction in righteousness. All scripture. So you want to prove everything through scripture, and then you want to use these scriptures as instruction in righteousness. Because if you follow this order, then let me just read verse 17 and it'll sum it up. Let the scripture speak. That the man of Yahweh may be perfect, thoroughly furnished unto all good works. You know, so if you studying to show thyself approved, you know, if you're reading constantly reading, because the scriptures say, "Blessed is him that readeth," and you're using these scriptures as inspiration as to how you conduct yourself and how you should live, then you'll be in a good case. You know. Uh, Let me see. Let's jump in. I just want to get real quick a few scriptures from this Proverbs. The whole chapter is good, but um, I just want to get a couple of points. So let's see. Let's see. This whole chapter, I could really go through this whole
She is like
chapter.
the merchant's ships. She bringeth her food.
So lucky about that. But pretty much uh Manuel, I believe that's his name. His mother was really putting him up on game, and she was going into what, you know, the qualities of a virtuous woman and what things that he should look for. You know, as far as him finding a virtuous woman, you know, certain characteristics that stands out that a man should always look for, because you know, verse 10 says, "Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies." You know, so that's not a common thing. You know, if if it's a lot of women out here that's not putting their heart, setting their heart back to Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. They're beguiled by this world. You know, they're following in the footsteps of this world, and in this world, in Esau's system, it tells you that right is wrong and wrong is right. You know, this is a do as thy will vibration out here. You know, and pretty much, you know, women rule over their men. You know, so it's not, there's nothing biblical about what's going on. So that's why it's very prevalent if, you know, we come back to the scriptures and find peace and instruction in the scriptures to become more righteous, to become more fulfilling in the spirit, you know. And again, you know, back to the topic at hand, you know, the duty of a woman is to be compatible to that man's spirit, right? A godly woman or a woman of the Most High should be comforting that man's spirit. You know, she's meant, again, I gave some examples. She's meant to be a housekeeper, a servant, you know, a caretaker. You know, so like for an example, you know, just to throw myself out there, I just moved, and my house is not really organized. You know, I haven't mounted my TVs. Well, that's something I can do, but it's certain things, you know, like my bathroom is not organized, or it wasn't organized. One my guest bedroom is stuff everywhere. You know, I haven't even hung all my clothes up. So my woman, or my wife, she said, you know, hey, I can do that. I can take on that duty to help you out. You know, just tell me what you need for me to do, so you know, she can make my life easier. Because, you know, Jake, the Israelite man, we especially if you're living alone, you're balancing that masculine and feminine energy. You're balancing, you know, you have to cook, clean for yourself. You know, you have to organize. You might be the most masculine, hard working, driven man out there, but you might not be that organized. And that's where, you know, Eve comes into place. She can help you with things. So, you know, whether it's balancing your finances, I'm not good at that. You know, so my woman might be a little better than me at that. So there's things that us as Israelite men, we fall short on, and it's good for our women to be helpmates, you know, and not our enemies. Because I think in Malachi, roughly paraphrasing, you know, she that is my Salakia. Roughly paraphrasing, she that is my enemy, she that is against me shall be my enemy. Let me just get that, because I butchered it. I wrote it down. 1 second. Oh, here it goes right here. Okay, yeah, you know, Micah 7:2. She that is my enemy shall see it. And shame shall cover her, which said unto me, where is the Lord thy power? My eyes shall behold her now. She shall be trodden down as the mire of the streets. You know, and this goes for, you know, really wanted to just get the beginning of that scripture, but she that is my enemy shall see it, you know. So all of these women out here who have took on the ideologies and the philosophies of society and what's going on now are wrong. You know, they have a lot of Eve or Israelite women have become enemies to the Israelite man, which is, I read the order. So if you're enemies to the Israelite man, you're enemies to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua. You know, so everything goes hand in hand. Everything is done in decency and in order. You know, so pretty much I hope this lesson was edified. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua, Bahashem Rakakadash.